Today's headlines. Traslasyon goes virtual again. Lorenzana denies circulating info on supposed government plan to declare lockdown and martial law. Vax cards required for metro travelers, says PNP. Arrest hoarders, Solon asks government, PNP, and LGUs. Pay up, Secretary Bello orders recruiters. Odette Agri losses hit 11 billion pesos. Japan and Australia sign defense treaty. Good morning, I'm Roy Pelovelio and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Today is January 7, 2022, and here are the latest news of this Friday morning. Following the suspension of the conduct of the traslasyon due to the rising number of coronavirus deceased cases in the National Capital Region, officials of the Minor Basilica of the Black Nazarene announced that physical Eucharistic celebrations will not be conducted for the celebration of the Feast of the Black Nazarene. According to Quiapo Church Parochial Vicar Father Douglas Badong, the masses will be conducted online once again to curb the spread of the deadly respiratory disease and the emergence of the Omicron variant. Manila Archbishop Jose Cardinal Advincula, on the other hand, urged the devotees of the Black Nazarene to attend online masses for the traditional traslasyon. The Cardinal said he is aware of the desire of millions of devotees of the Lord Jesus of Nazareth to attend Holy Mass in the Basilica, but the Church attaches importance to the health and safety of the majority against the threat of coronavirus, especially the spread of the Omicron variant. Advincula said that although the celebration is online, everyone is still encouraged to join in the Holy Mass celebrations that will be held inside the Quiapo Church from time to time. Based on the Manila Police District traffic plan, the entire area of Plaza Miranda will be closed to vehicles and pedestrians to prevent devotees to get near the church. Barriers are installed to isolate the church, while some ambulant vendors have vacated the surroundings as uniformed battalion-sized deployment will be assigned in the said places. According to Police Brigadier General Leo Francisco, the entire church vicinity will be locked down and no one will be allowed to roam from 8 to 10 of January, adding that a liquor ban will also be in effect. Traffic rerouting had been announced to earlier advise motorists on roads that is allowed by authorities to pass, while no one will be allowed to park any kind of vehicle near the church itself. Meantime, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA released the alternative routes and road closures for the traslasyon in some parts of Manila to ensure that devotees would not flock to the Quiapo Church for the Feast of the Black Nazarene. The agency said Manila District Traffic Enforcement Unit will close roads near Quiapo Church on 8 January from 8 p.m. onwards, while roads along Santa Cruz Parish will be closed on the same day from 10 p.m. onwards. The MMDA stressed that there will be no procession of the Black Nazarene in Manila as per the agreement of the agency and the MPD. Information on supposed government plan to declare lockdown is denied by Defense Secretary Delphine Lorenzana, saying that the government doesn't plan to declare a total lockdown or even martial law because of the continuously rising number of COVID-19 cases. Lorenzana, who also chairs the National Task Force on COVID-19, said declaring martial law is definitely out of the picture and it is fake news. Earlier, a recording of a woman's voice circulated over social media and messaging apps, calling on people to prepare for a possible declaration of a total lockdown or martial law. The unidentified woman said President Duterte could make the declaration on Monday or Tuesday next week. She said people should buy tomorrow or Friday buy food supplies that would last them until January 30, as authorities will not allow anyone to go out. Lorenzana said that there is no compelling reason to declare martial law as the Omicron variant, while more transmissible, is less virulent than Delta. Lorenzana said that the IATF is still evaluating and it is not a total lockdown for the entire country and rather considering tighter measures for enhanced community quarantine. The Philippine National Police on Thursday announced that motorists and commuters traveling between Bulacan and Metro Manila must bring their vaccination cards, which may be required upon entry through the border control points. PNP Chief Police General Leonardo Carlos stressed that those without vaccination cards will be barred from entering and will be asked to go back to their place of origin. Carlos made a remark after local governments of Bulacan and the National Capital Region instructed the police to check inbound travelers for proof of vaccination following the declaration of COVID-19 Alert Level 3 in their areas. To recall, Metro Manila mayors unanimously passed a resolution to restrict public movement of unvaccinated persons within the metropolis. The PNP chief, meantime, said that it was observed that the policy caused traffic congestion in Bulacan on the first day of its implementation. But the PNP believes that only a direct result of the strict inspection measures to curb the further spread of the coronavirus. Carlos said that they are fully aware that the movement must not be hampered, but non-essential travel can be controlled, expressing hope that this can alleviate the problem of traffic jams. He added that the PNP continues to assess the situation every day, and more police personnel can be deployed to checkpoints with a heavy volume of vehicles if needed. Tribune News on Q will be back after these reminders.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Si Harry Roque ang pinakamagaling na spokesman, kaya inggit sa kanya ang oposisyon.
Tama lang na ipinaglaban ko ang balik trabaho para bumalik ang kita ng mga nagtatrabaho at naghahanap buhay. Hindi pwedeng magutom ang pamilya. Dapat lang po ingat buhay para sa hanap buhay. Basta trabaho, kita at hanap buhay ang nakataya. Nasa harap niyo po ako.
Ibigay natin ang tudong suporta kay Harry.
Ang Daily Tribune may digital shows na din. Dahil sa mas lumalaki at mas lumalakas nating tribu, handog sa inyo ng Daily Tribune ang mga programang magbibigay buhay araw-araw. Be informed at mag-good vibes tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Be updated sa news and happenings sa Tribune News on Q. Mas kilalanin pa natin ang mga paborito nyong atleta sa programang The Athletes Tribune. Alamin ang latest entertainment sa programang What's Up. Ma-inspire sa mga kwentong hatid ng Perfect. Search lang ang Daily Tribune sa inyong Facebook at Tribune Now on YouTube. See you there, mga katribu!
We're back on Tribune News on Q. Amid a tight supply of paracetamol and other drugs for flu-like symptoms, a lawmaker on Thursday asked authorities to arrest hoarders and price manipulators of medicines. Quezon City Representative Precious Hipolito Castelo made the appeal in the wake of reports that hoarding of fever drug paracetamol is prevalent. She pointed out that there are laws and even local ordinances prohibiting hoarding and price manipulation of drugs and other important consumer products. According to Castelo, concerned authorities should enforce this to protect the interest and welfare of our people, especially the poor, and hoarding denies the poor access to essential products like medicines and increases the prices of these commodities. She called on the Department of Trade and Industry, Department of the Interior and Local Government, Department of Health, Philippine National Police, and local government units to act jointly in going after individuals taking advantage of the dramatic increase in the number of people stricken with flu and COVID-19. Castello said LGUs should suspend or revoke the business permits of establishments that hoard or manipulate the prices of products or engage in activities in restraint of trade. She urged the government and the manufacturers to ensure enough supply of COVID-19 medicines. While people complained of being unable to purchase paracetamol and other drugs for flu-like symptoms, amid a sudden increase in demand for these products, the DOH assured that there is no shortage. It claimed delivery issues and demand have affected the stocks. The government is not backing down from its position that local recruitment agencies or their principals should shoulder the pre-departure travel expenses of overseas Filipino workers being deployed to Taiwan. Labor Secretary Sylvester Bello III issued a categorical statement to this effect in reaction to the reported insistence of local recruiters to burden job applicants to Taiwan with pre-travel related expenses like getting RT-PCR COVID-19 tests. The recruiters have alleged that there is an impasse, but sources told Daily Tribune that the recruiters were just refusing to toe the line and to follow regulations. Bello stressed in a radio interview that there is no problem with the policies of Taiwan because they are now allowing the entry of OFW to their borders. However, the agencies want the workers to pay for these requirements. It is not acceptable since these people have no money yet. According to reports, the deployment to Taiwan of some 5,000 OFWs is being held up by the recruiters' refusal to shoulder the pre-travel costs, with some requiring the workers to sign promissory notes. As early as 11 November last year, the Manila Economic and Cultural Office, or MECO, issued a memorandum informing Malacanang of the pre-travel requirements imposed by Taiwan ahead of the reopening of its borders to migrant workers from 1 to 14 December. The very next day, or on 12 November 2021, the Palace backed MECO's position that the pre-travel costs should not be passed on to job applicants, and it promptly endorsed MECO's memo to the Department of Labor, or DOLE. On 17 November, Bello ordered the Philippine Overseas Employment Administration, or POEA, an agency under the DOLE, to convene its governing board to issue a resolution mandating the recruiters to shoulder the cost of the RT-PCR tests. In turn, POEA Administrator Bernard Olalia told MECO that Memorandum Circular 01-2021 issued in January last year already mandates recruiters to shoulder the pandemic-related travel expenses of the OFW. Recruiters paying for the COVID tests of the applicants would fall under MC 01-2021, according to industry insiders. Thailand and Indonesia have taken advantage of the 1 to 14 December window opened by Taiwan before it closed anew its borders to welcome back home its nationals for Lunar New Year celebrations. Bello said that it is either the agency or the employer who should shoulder the expenses for these requirements. The labor chief added that he will not allow the unfairness happening with some Filipinos who are being forced by the recruiters to shoulder the expenses. An equally exasperated MECO chairman, Wilfredo B. Fernandez, the country's resident representative to Taiwan, met the recruiters via Zoom on 16 December over their non-compliance with the government's directive. Agricultural damage and losses due to Typhoon Odette, which devastated parts of the country just days before Christmas, have ballooned to 11 billion pesos as of Thursday morning. The Department of Agriculture reported that affected farmers and fishers now stood at 389,316, with the volume of production losses at 252,956 metric tons and 420,465 hectares of agricultural areas inundated. The damage and losses were reported in Calabarzon, Mimaropa, Bicol, Western Visayas, Central Visayas, Eastern Visayas, Zamboanga Peninsula, Northern Mindanao, Davao, Soxargen, and Caraga region. Based on the latest data, the fisheries subsector, with 50,256 fishers affected, suffered the most with 3 billion pesos incurred losses. Meanwhile, the rice sector sustained at least 2.6 billion pesos in losses. The livestock and poultry sector also reported a total of 535.4 million pesos in losses, with about 1.6 million heads lost. Other affected commodities include rice, corn, high-value crops, coconut, and sugarcane. The DA also noted that damage has also been incurred in agricultural infrastructures, machinery, and equipment subject to validation. Before the onslaught of Odette, the DA said a total of 11,454 hectares of rice had been harvested from Mimaropa and Regions 6, 8, 9, 11, and 13, with an equivalent production of 34,433 metric tons, amounting to 615.53 million pesos. As for corn, a total of 2,452 hectares have been harvested from Region 4A, Mimaropa, 8, 9, 11, and 13, with an equivalent production of 6,965 metric tons, amounting to 82.55 million pesos. To cushion the adverse impact of the typhoon, the DA said at least 2.9 billion pesos in readily available assistance will be provided to farmers and fisher folks affected. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Non-stop showbiz update ba ang hanap nyo? Sagot na yan ang aming Tribune Extra. Balitang entertainment at lifestyle, mapalocal man o international, meron kami niyan. Manood at makichika na kasama si Kim Sancha, Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 5 ng hapon sa Tribune News on Q at separate premiere nito ng alas 7:30 ng gabi. Mapapanood sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube. Fun and inspiring na kwentuhan? Sagot na yan ng programang Spotlight ng Daily Tribune. Makipagkwentuhan at kilalanin ng iba't ibang personalidad na kilala sa kani-kanilang larangan. Manood at makinig sa mga inspiring stories na kanilang ibabahagi kasama si Nina Ventura at Jojo Silvestre. Be ready ng mamangha at matuwa every Thursday alas 2 ng hapon dito lang sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now on YouTube.
You're still watching Tribune News on Q. Japan and Australia on Thursday signed a landmark treaty to strengthen defense ties, saying the accord would contribute to regional stability as China expands its military and economic clout. While Australian Prime Minister Scott Morrison did not mention Beijing directly in a statement released ahead of the signing, the agreement is seen as another step by regional allies to signal their concern over China's military expansion. Ahead of Thursday's online summit with his Japanese counterpart, Fumio Kishida, Morrison called the agreement, quote, a statement of two nations' commitment to work together in meeting the shared strategic security challenges we face and to contribute to a secure and stable Indo-Pacific, unquote. Morrison said, The landmark treaty will for the first time provide a clear framework for enhanced interoperability and cooperation between our two forces. He added that the partnership reflects the Japan and Australia's shared values, commitment to democracy and human rights, and common interest in a free, open, and resilient Indo-Pacific. Japan and Australia, along with the United States and India, are part of the Quad grouping that has worked to build an alliance in the face of China's swelling presence across Asia, including its threats to vital international sea lanes. When asked about the treaty at a regular briefing on Wednesday, China's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin said the Pacific Ocean is vast enough for the common development of countries in the region. He mentioned that state-to-state exchanges and cooperation should be conducive to enhancing mutual understanding and trust among countries in the region and safeguarding regional peace and stability, rather than targeting or undermining the interests of any third party. And our hope that the Pacific will be an ocean of peace, not a place to make waves. That wraps up the stories this morning. Before we go, we'd like to thank the following: SM Store, the Department of Tourism, Araneta Center, MG Motors, Hina Motors Security Bank, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Roy Pelavelio on Tribune News on Cue. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its vibrant community, Tribune, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tarcito are available on our community Viber.